Hello, peeps. Hello, family, and welcome. Hello, lovelies. Um, Today I wanted to do another video. This time I wanted to do a video about gentrifications. Um, yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about is gentrifications that's going on here in the United States, and gentrification is a tactic used to strip the indigenous people of their land. The same thing they did back in the day, like stripping us of our identity as American Aborigines. They call us as African American, but strip us of our heritage as indigenous people. It's the same thing, similar tactic that they use. What I mean is, I've been thinking long and hard about this. I used to work for the Housing Authority as an analyst, and I've seen it countless times. I saw it coming, but I'm starting to see it's like a pattern. Gentrification is pretty much. They say that they use gentrification to make the neighborhood better. The neighborhood is messed up, and they got to come in and fix it up. And it's not the truth. It's all BS, pretty much, by gray supremacy, gray Caucasians. It's just a tactic to keep American Aborigines divided. They use gentrification pretty much to strip us of our land. Also, is a tactic used to break up our infrastructure, because they like to go to neighborhoods that are doing well and prosperous for us, and they come in and claim that it needs development even though it doesn't. It's already been built. They're using it because they want to just come in and grab the land. They want to devalue what we build and come in and get it for dirt cheap. Then do a little patchwork to it, spend little chunk change money, not that much, and then turn around and inflate the prices and sell it. And I think one way they do it is because that's why they like to hit with gentrification. They love to target the seniors, the elderly, because they know that a lot of times they're on a fixed income and they can't handle the high taxes and the higher interest rates on mortgages. And they figured, since we're not together as a family or like we should, work together in unity, come together and channel our money and resources together as a family, that there's a strong chance that the house that your parents, the baby boomers have paid into will be lost, because they figured that the young people are not going to step up and try to take over and save their properties from being taken. And so that's how they take all over the land and stuff, and then they come in and hoard the resources and they jack up the prices. I have a perfect example. I live right here in Metro Atlanta, outside of Atlanta, and I moved. We live in the Decatur area, and it's going through gentrification. Great Caucasian left in the 70s for white flight because African Americans started moving in because of the civil rights and integration. They didn't want to live with us. They moved outside the city. And then they decided to have MARTA. The Caucasians didn't want MARTA because they were afraid that that increased crime. But we, as American Aborigines, wanted train stations and wanted to have busing system. And so we built it. We paid our tax dollars and built it and created it. I think we had an American Aborigine mayor. I want to say Maynard Jackson might have had something to do with it. Don't take my word for it, but I think it's Maynard Jackson. He was American Aborigine. I think he passed away a few years ago, but it was part of his brainchild to expand the MARTA system and everything here in Atlanta. And so when they built up the modern station, they saw how nice it was, and we as American Aborigines had voted to have this and create this wonderful way of having transportation. And now that they see that how great it is, and then the Olympics came, that's when great conquistadors want to come in and take over again, and they won't hoard the resources like they always do. And so they want to push us out so they can come back in and hoard the resources. And not to say with the white flag, we were here before them. Technically, this is our land. So they always did this. This is just a new tactic, whereas back in old days, they just pushed you out with guns and just tell you to go, and just take your land. They still literally doing it the same way. It's just a different method. They always coming up with stupid ways to do stuff so they can constantly steal and rob us and steal us of our resources. But that's what's going on in Atlanta right now. And the thing is, I noticed, from working at the housing authority and living here in the city in Metro Atlanta, and this is what I see, is that they are what we mess up at as American Aborigines, we don't hold on to our property, our ancestors. That's why we have a hard time keeping wealth within our families with the houses, is because we give it away. I've seen it at the housing authority as an analyst, and in the past, and living here, I just starting to see it's a cycle. So instead of just selling off your parents' house like we always do for chunk change to these people, why not, if you have siblings and everything, the best thing to do is to hold on to this property, because a lot of times the properties are almost paid for if you hold on to it, and the property will go up. But a lot of times we sell it off, and we sort of, in a way, allow them to come back in. But if we will hold on to the properties and stop just giving it away for free, and then don't get wealth off of you, that's what happened. Now, for example, I had a cousin who had a house right here in near the historic areas of Decatur, down near Metro Atlanta. They sold the house for $80,000. There was nothing wrong with the house, and it really didn't need much work. Maybe a little bit of painting on the trimming, and that was it. So they sold the house for $80,000. Okay, so I don't know what they were thinking. The mother passed away, and my cousins, I guess they did not want to keep the house, which was silly. The house was almost paid for. And they moved out and sold it for $80,000 to this realtor. And then what they did was just put a little paint on it and change a little things in there with a little chunk change. And they turned around and sold the house for the same exact house for $500,000. And so they got a net profit. And then the new great Caucasian family that moved in, they are getting the house for even more money. Because it's in a hot spot in Metro Atlanta. And so instead of selling for chunk change, which we do too much, study the cycle of the housing area and look at it very closely. And a lot of times, and if it's almost paid for, or halfway paid for, why sell it? We need to learn the power of working as a collective. We need to get rid of differences. Hey, this sibling is upset about this, or this family member, all this bickering. We need to stop. Put it to, hey, this is a legacy or heritage that needs to be kept within family. And so, and a lot of times when they able to break up our homes and stuff, get you out of the neighborhoods, it weakens our voting power here in the Black areas, in the American Aborigine areas, and copper colored areas, neighborhoods. And that's how come they had, they get more of you out of here, they bring their butts in here, hoard the resources, and then vote whoever they want in there. They have all these judges. Then that's when you have all these dang on cops, gray cops coming in who are harassing folks for stupid stuff. And then, and that's what they want to do, break up the voting power. So one way to keep, we need to think bigger than that. Bigger than, I can get this little chunk change and live off of it. No. A lot of these houses are very worth money. And they know it. So they want to come in here and undercut you, and you just give them property away. And that's what's happening with gentrification. Is happening here in Atlanta. I'm hearing that's happening in New York and Harlem. It's happening all over, in different areas throughout the Americas. And I'm also hearing about it that's happening in Australia. That's a wicked way for gray Caucasians, the grays. When I say gray, it's Gray. That's what I'm saying, gray Caucasian, to come in and steal land. And that's pretty much all they're doing. They claim, the area is bad. There's nothing wrong with the area. The area is nice. That's why they're trying to bring the budding in. You build it up and sitting on something that's worth a gold mine. They just want to come in and just steal it. And that's what they do. And they make money off of you all the time doing it. Don't let them in. Don't allow them to buy your properties. And that's the problem. We don't value what we have. We need to learn how to value it. But anyway, I can go on and on. That really bothered me, and I wanted to talk about gentrification and what it is. And I don't think people really look at the bigger picture. Gentrification is a tactic for gray Caucasians, Caucasoids, to come in, steal your property for dirt cheap, and they reap the benefit of the wealth. And meanwhile, you don't have anything but a little chunk change that they're just giving you. And then not only that, it's also a tactic to weaken your communities and weaken our voting power so they can hoard the power within the government to make decisions and making decisions on everything. And so when you are just giving away property like that and not working together to hold on to the houses that I've seen, the elderly families, the baby boomers have, you're just handing over everything to them. And so I just wanted to explain that. But this is my first time reading this article. I thought this was an amazing article. I didn't get a chance to read it. I just sort of skimmed through it. It says gentrification is sweeping through America. Here are the people fighting back. And seeing that's what we need to do. We need to fight back here in Atlanta. Some of us are, and that's what we're going to try to do. My brother and I already talked about trying to hold on to my mother's property. My mom and dad, we want to keep that in the family. We want to be able to have a heritage too, to pass down to generational wealth. And one way to do that is to stop giving our houses away for dirt cheap. If you got a family, if you own property like that and it's almost paid for, why sell it? Why not make it a family home, and live there and pay it off and live for free and be able to put our money away and just pay taxes on it. That's the best way. But anyway, gentrification is sweeping through America. Here are the people fighting back. In Atlanta, a neighborhood is resisting the use of an eminent domain, which allows government to take private property for public use. That's another issue here. I was just talking about, residential areas, but, government too be trying to steal people's property too. That happened to my grandmother, when they built the airport. They took all the land out in Hartsville from a lot of the American Aborigines just so they could put the airport there. But let's continue. I think it was a great Caucasian mayor that did that. And that was by design. It says, walk into the home of Robert and Berta Darden, and you immediately surrounded by memories. Like many African-American couples who have reached a certain age, the front room of their house is full of photos of Dardens in their youth and their happy children and smiling grandchildren. Many other moments reflect in the photos captured during their 28 years in their Atlanta home. In the midst of all these strands of plaques, I received this when I retired. After 29 years of working for the city of Atlanta, Mr. Dresden says, he's an Atlanta man, beaming with pride. He tells me that he started working for Atlanta Sanitation Department in 1969 and later transferred to the Department of Transportation, where he remained until his retirement in 1998. But now the city is aggressively trying to take their house. Oh, that's terrible. It doesn't feel good at all. He says it's not a good feeling to give the city 29 years of my life and then they want to take my home. See, that happened to my grandparents. They had their homes. You pay it off and you want to be comfortable and they want to come and get it and take your land. And then sometimes they don't want to pay you anything for your property. They want to give you a little dab of money. And your property is worth more than that. And here it is, Berta, and this is Berta Dresden, 62 years old. Peoplestown. I heard of Peoplestown. They are definitely trying to take that. Peoplestown is right outside of the stadium, the Capitol. No, I think it's off of Capitol Avenue near downtown Atlanta. It's, they're really trying to push the seniors out of there because I think it's not just the city. It's also, it's a lot of the government, a lot of the city and big companies and corporations. And not only that, wealthy gray Caucasoids who want to put lavish stuff out there. And all of them, they would just want to come in there and just take over and want to pay people a little chunk change and then turn around, put expensive stuff there and then jack up and raise the price and they get the wealth off of it. Well, you don't get anything. And that's what they do. And they just pretty much stealing the land from the indigenous people. The process of the land is attempted to use to take ownership of the house is known as eminent domain, the power of governmental entities to take private property from public use. See? And what gets me is there's a lot of places they have old abandoned buildings that they can use. Why not go over there? Because sometimes they don't go, they leave old buildings. Why not use that instead of trying to push people out of their homes? It's crazy. The city claims it needs the house along the others in the same block of Peoplestown neighborhood. They always want to say stuff. In order to build a park and pond that will help the street flooding. You're right. Meanwhile, community members suspect that flooding is being used as a pretext to facilitate private development in the neighborhoods. That's exactly what they're trying to do. And then this process is replicated throughout the U.S. If successful, eminent domain would become the newest tool that local and state governments could use to accelerate gentrification and displacement that's already affecting low-income Aborigines and Hispanic communities. I don't know why they could say black and brown. It's just ridiculous. We're about the same complexion as the Hispanics, as the people they call it, the Mongoloids pretty much. The American Aborigines and the Hispanics. Okay? That's what they're pretty much saying. And that's exactly what they're doing. They just want to move them out so they can steal the property. And it's ridiculous. The most powerful tool in the gentrification arsenal, eminent domain, has a long history in the U.S., existing in other countries where it's known by many, including compulsory purchases, compulsory acquisitions, and perhaps most appropriately expropriation, which is crazy. I'm going greed. And it's only the rich 1% that's doing this. And some of the wealthiest gray Caucasoids is doing this. I just never met such greedy folks that want to hoard resources, for themselves. And it says here, the U.S. Constitution acknowledges the government's power of eminent domain that imposes two limitations. The taking of property must be for public use, and it must include compensation. Yeah, and the compensation is dirt cheap. They don't give you anything. Public use. Yeah, public use my butt. Sometimes they probably put lavish stuff for the rich to have. Probably put some big old houses over there. They say anything just to get the land. Determination of what constitutes public use has traditionally been left to each state, and the U.S. Supreme Courts have been increasingly expanding over the years. And yeah, this is ridiculous. And here's a beautiful American Aborigine woman, elderly. That's so sad. They pay so much to live in their home, and then they give them a little chunk change. And then it's not enough to get a house where you can be living comfortably. No, it's your home. But anyway, it says in Georgia, land cannot be taken and handed over to private developers to increase revenue. However, land can be taken for public redevelopment projects, such as a facility or park to help deal with flooding issues. Yeah, something that they made up. See, this area is really nice, and it's a hot spot. It's right outside of downtown. It's right there, downtown. And see, they just want that area. They probably not going to put no public development there. They're going to probably put some houses there for the rich elite to live in. That's what they did downtown. They what they did near Centennial Park, I think they put expensive housing down there. I think they might have a few mixed income units, which is very few, not that many, but it's mostly people with money that lives out there, and that's what they want to do over here. They probably want to put luxury townhouses and lofts and stuff like that down there and kick all the people who are low income. They pay for their houses. They should be able to live there and live comfortably, after they pay for it. But no, they want to come in there and just steal. And that is exactly what the city says it intends to do in Peoplestown, which, they always doing it. They just want to hoard the resources for Great Caucasians. Because I bet you it's going to be nothing but Great Caucasians up in there. It's for the rich or the wealthy people with money. According to the press release issued by the city, once completed, the neighborhood will have a Japanese garden, gazebo for community gatherings, several detention ponds, bio-retaining areas for retreat to treat stormwaters, and probably luxury lofts and some townhouses for the rich and the people with money, Great Caucasoids to move in. And that's it, and then they're going to give the people a little chunk change that ain't enough to buy nothing nice or not in a nice decent area. Little chunk change. That's what they do. And it says Tanya Washington, a professor of Georgia State University, lives in the same street of Darden's, and like them, she is in a legal battle to keep the city from taking her home, which is crazy. And the city, what they do, I don't think it's the city. What I think the city is going to do is just turn around and hand it over to some private company, and they're going to build little houses and stuff, or big houses for the rich or something, or some townhouses. But I don't think they're using all that for a park. They say they would, but they change things to bend for them. So that's what great supremacy is all about. You'll never hear them kicking out Great Caucasians like that out of their home, getting them a little chunk change and they can't hardly go nowhere and afford anything. Maybe they do in the rural areas where some of the poorest Great Caucasians. But I'm talking about these are people who are with money to burn. It says, according to Washington, the city rationale is problematic because it uses the symptoms of the neighbor's systemic neglect to become a reason for displacing a family. That is horrible. That is systemic neglect. Yeah. Sometimes, they don't want to fix things like little potholes in the street because it's in a low income area, but some of those houses and stuff don't, that's what that is. That's what that's all about. But anyway, it says, what I'm concerned about is the city's trying to use the crumbling infrastructure as a justification for exercising eminent domain because it's probably a basis for arguing public necessity, she says. Complicated, and then now that they don't get the people loans to fix up their houses. If you're elderly and you've been in your house for 50 years and, you're on a fixed income, don't have much money coming in. You don't have much money to put into fixing up your house. And seeing that's what and then the loans don't want to give you any money to fix up your house, you know? And so, or they block them from expanding businesses and stuff. That's all by design because they want the land. Complicating the battle is, and that's another thing. The mortgage companies and all these loan lenders, all of them in cahoots with each other. That's the good old boy, gray Caucasoid, gray supremacist way. That's how they do it. And that's how we need to be. We need to find ways too. And this one's sort of tough, especially when you find the government on keeping your house. But it says here, what I'm concerned about is the city's trying to use the crumbling infrastructure. And then I read that one. Complicating about is the fact that the city is given a presumption of the public necessity place a burden of proof of homeowner. As a result, the state hearing initial ruled in favor of Atlanta's government. But Washington and the Dartons are appealing against the decision. If allowed by the courts, the built-in justification could become the most powerful tool in the gentrification arsenal. See, they are just terrible. It would also, almost any city can use the legacy of institutional racism and systemic neglect to further advance the displacement of low-income Black residents. And it's sad, you pay to fix your houses and they displace them. And then they don't pay you anything. They give you like $20,000 here. Then here's the little crumbs I give you. And you move. And it's not enough to live off of. Are they crazy? This is ridiculous. And then it says, in the theory, the rationale of using eminent domain will include street flooding, high quantities of lead in city waters, even high crime areas in certain neighborhoods. The latter is not unimaginable. Crime actually was part of the justification for the city demolition of public housing. Yeah, and that's how they got the people out of Capitol homes. And, some of those how in the area. That was one of the projects that was in downtown Atlanta. And that now they put Centennial Parks and they put a bunch of lofts down there. See, that's what they do. And you see mostly great Caucasians and people with money living out there. You don't see too many American Aborigines. You see some. I take that back. There's some American Aborigines with money that live out there too. But that's how they do it. They trying to break up having a lot of Black and American Aborigines in one area. Because they want to break up our voting rights too. That's how they do it. Atlanta's decision to get rid of the eventually become a model for other cities. Its use of eminent domain could be next. They're just making up shit. This amazing to me how they just come up with rules as they go. They just be making up stuff. These folks, it's no point in. It's just that's why, they just come up with stuff. That's why we need to stop calling them white, call them gray Caucasoids. Because, speaking to the universe that their writing abilities of changing laws will come to an end. But when, this is pretty hectic. And then down here, they're talking about the Olympics. And I remember the Olympics. They were really pushing us out in metro city areas. It's like if you are within the city areas, you're going to see it. And that's what they're doing. People's Town is just one of several areas. They coming into Decatur. They went into West End area over there with the historic area of Martin Luther King. That's another area they done it as well. And it says urban renewal means pushing American Aborigines out. That's exactly what that is. That's all it is. They're stealing the land. This is how they do it. They use the government because they got the good old boy system through the government. Any type of business, and that's what they do. Businesses that are interested in where you live and houses that you pay for to own. All they do is go to the government, and really the government and the companies are hand in hand because they pay off the politicians, and the politicians just do whatever these companies do. So it's like this whole governmental structure is set up by companies, pretty much. They make the decisions. The citizens don't even have a say so, especially American Aborigines. If you don't have the dollars and you're not part of the rich elite and a certain skin tone, you got to be a great Caucasoid, then that's how it works, And then they talked about the Olympics and everything. I know this is a long article. I can go on and on. I remember the Olympics. That's when I told you that's when they started the first, the wave of it. That's when when the Olympics came, that's when the great Caucasoids and all these big old companies want to come in to Atlanta and hoard the resources. Nobody was studying Atlanta. And American Aborigines built up Atlanta. Believe it or not, with the model station and everything, got it looking nice. It was not just their brainchild. We actually helped put that together. And we wanted these train stations and got it here and got it going and everything. And all of a sudden, everybody else want to move here. And see? But I'm just strolling down. I'm not going to read this. I didn't realize how long this article was because I want to show you some more. But you see how pretty it is? These houses are pretty, and some of them are historic houses. This is the one lady right here who's trying to fight back. It says Tony Washington in front of her home. She is originally from Washington, D.C., but has been in Atlanta for 15 years. She is a law professor at Georgia State University. And yeah, she's trying to keep her home. It's pretty. Nice, beautiful home. They won't come in there and just take it. And they claim, it's for private. It's for the government. It's not for private. It's for public things. And that's what they all say. It's for the public. Yeah, and then they're going to keep a portion of it for these companies that want to build nice lofts for the rich and everything. And next thing you know, it's going to be only great Caucasoids and rich people living up in there and hoarding all the nice benefits and having the train station and sitting pretty and being able to get around. And while they push everybody else out, that's exactly what they're trying to do. But anyway, I'm going to put a link to this article, but I want to share another article I'm going to bring out with me. This is another article. Let me see if I can stroll up. I got this new mouse. I don't know why I'm using the thing on here. I think is this the same one? This is another article because I was telling you about how I'm gonna put a link to this article too. I wasn't intending to make this video. It says how gentrification destroyed Black voting power. And see, this article explains how it does it, and that's the whole point of gentrification is to push you out so they can keep great Caucasians in. This is Chocolate City. Anything that has a collection of American Aborigines come together because they fear that we will unite and overthrow them. And I think that's the reason why they do the stupid stuff that they do. And this is just another way of pushing us off our land and breaking it up and constantly creating confusion. But if we, like I said, when it comes to our houses and passing it down from generation to generation, ways to try to keep it in the family. Another thing is having more people like us in government, but it seems like every time we get somebody in there, some of them get paid off, and it'd be nice if we can get some people who are woke in office that looks like us that helps fight to put an end to it. But it's sort of hard when the government is ran and ruled by private interest people who are companies. Pretty much companies are running this government. And when it's companies, they use the government to get what they want. And what they want is to push us off so they can make it for themselves. And you got this great Caucasians and companies, and their companies that they own. Special interest groups. But anyway, I'm going to put a link to this article. I'm not going to have time to read that because I didn't want to take this video. And then there's another one about the Indigenous people being displaced by gentrification. I just wanted to show you how it's all over. Now this one's talking about in Australia. The Australia, America, the Australian Aborigines, the Aborigines of Australia, they're getting kicked off their land. This is not just here in America. It's happening probably all over. And I'm speculating it might be, no, not sure who is in charge of that, but just showing different pictures right here. This is Synonymous Resistance Invasion Day Rally at Block Sydney, January 2018. They're just showing how they're trying to fight back to, the stealing of the land. It's like it wasn't enough. They already stole the land from the indigenous people. Now they're trying to, push more people off. It's like it's just a continuous cycle. If you look at it, it's a continuous cycle of this. They come up with different ways and techniques. First, they came up with ways with laws and stuff back when they got here. And I just gonna bring y'all over here. Well, I don't think it's gonna bring y'all over here. So let me go back. Man, maybe I didn't wait long enough. Let's try this again. I was trying to bring you over to another page. And I don't think it's going to let me do it. Let's see if I scroll down. No, it didn't. We stayed on the same page, but I'm going to go back over to this original page. I really like this article here. And the same thing happened to my grandmother when she had her house near Hartsville Airport, I think. In Forest Park, they did the same thing to her. She had to move. And they didn't give her a ton of money, But, these people pay into these houses and they get used to it when they get, seniors, you want to stay in your home. But this article is written by Cliff Albright. And I'm going to put a link to these 3 articles. I didn't get a chance to read the other ones, but I wanted to, share with y'all what's going on, with this gentrification. There's more to it than just, they just buying and fixing up. It's not, some places didn't really need a lot of fixing up, like here in Decatur, it wasn't much they had to do. And they just come in and say, it needs fixing. And it really didn't need fixing. They, they just put in a little money, put a little paint on the house and then sell it. And then they get all this money. But in People's Town, been through People's Town, some areas really nice in People's Town. They're just using that as as an excuse because they want to just come in and take over. Just take over. And it's just sad. It's really sad. But I would love to see what you all think about this phenomenon that's taking place, because I know it's happening here in Atlanta. It's also happening in New York, in Harlem, and they mostly targeting the American Aborigine areas. And they always wait till we build up stuff and have a cultural city and things looking nice, historic areas that we build, and they want to come in and just take without paying for it. And how about not pay for it? They got other areas they could go to. They got worn down buildings and warehouses they can go to build these things. But no, they want to go where the is always where we at. I want, and they never, you don't never see great Caucasians. That's another reason why they're able to build wealth, because they can stay in their house and enjoy it, and not have nobody harassing them about stealing their land. And see, that's why I know that we're indigenous, They always doing this. But anyway, I would like to see what you all think. I would like to see, what do you think can be done to put a stop to it, especially when it comes to government. No, that's pretty hard. But I would like to see if y'all have any ideas on how people can do it. And if you experienced this yourself, what did y'all do, And I know we have experienced in my family as well here in Atlanta, and it's still going on to this day. And they're using different tactics of trying to push people off. And yeah, but please like this video and thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. And please leave your comments. I look forward to hearing from you. I'm on Black Junction TV. I finally finished my website. I'm gonna put a link to it. I guess I'll put a link to it. I'll let y'all check it out. Now, there's a couple more pages I need to finish on there, but I put a link to my new website, to my to my wellness counseling wellness center, and what else? Yeah, but I keep you posted on other things. Please like this video, thumbs up, and peace, family. Be blessed. Bye bye.